it's rare when a baseball player stands up against the sport and, in some cases, his own team in order to promote Christianity.
My God. This kind of critique, to me, always falls apart because they always want to paint, Christianity as like the underdog. I don't know if you've heard, but it's June now, so you have to be gay now. I'm sorry to inform that to you, but that's just kind of how it works now. It's June, you're gay now, welcome. But there are some people who seem to be really, really upset, and really not dealing with this very well. And chief among those is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro not doing very well, very upset over the presence of gay people in general, but obviously Pride Month's a real tough month for him. But it seems like baseball, I've been going to more baseball games lately this year. Always fun to do. If you've never been to a baseball game, they're always fun to go to. I think probably, if we're talking the big, like, I'm assuming what are the big four? Like hockey, basketball, baseball, and football. I would say the one I've had the most fun at are at the baseball games. I think, you get to be outside, whereas, you go to a football game, there's always a lot of loud, it's very loud. You kind of got to pay a lot of attention to what the fuck is going on. You also have to, there's a lot of moving parts in football. Hockey, it's cold as shit. You're inside. Same with basketball. You're inside the whole time, which, go Nuggets and all. But whereas baseball, it's nice. You can be outside. You can walk around the stadium. Stadiums are also very nice. But Ben Shapiro has had a tough time enjoying baseball lately now that Pride has kicked off. So let's kind of check in and see how he's doing. I heard he's not doing super well. Hey. We can't hear you, Ben.
Well, folks, it takes a lot of bravery to stand up to the LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign woke mob. And
why don't you
baseball
say
has basically
woke mob?
decided to full-on embrace the left-wing social agenda. So it's rare when a baseball player stands up against the sport and, in some cases, his own team in order to promote Christianity. The LA Dodgers.
Interesting that, right? Does anybody else find that interesting? That it's brave to stick up for Christianity, the dominant religion in the United States, the most powerful and one of the most powerful and hegemonic forces in American culture. It's brave to stick up for them, but you stick up for the gay people, and you're going along with the woke mob. This is where this kind of critique, to me, always falls apart because they always want to paint, Christianity, the Christian church, whatever. They always want to paint their fundamentalist, religious, organizations as like the underdog. Christianity, Ben, is not the underdog, pal. Go on Google Maps, type in the word church, and you tell me how many come up. And then you tell me how much of the underdogs and how much defending Christianity needs. Jesus.
Dodgers recently got themselves into hot water because, again, they're a major corporation, the LA Dodgers. And the only way to explain
Dodgers.
what they are doing,
Rockies all day.
The LA Dodgers, is to understand that they do not feel bound by their own customer base. The LA Dodger customer base is heavily Hispanic and heavily Catholic.
Cool.
I know. I used to live in LA. And yet they decided to slap Catholics in the face by hosting an LGBTQI plus minus divided by sign Pride Night featuring the Sisters of Perpetual.
Is this the new meme? Where we do LGBT plus like, Ben, what's really funny is he would save more time just saying LGBTQ plus. He could just say LGBT plus, but he extends it to make it more ridiculous. And it's like, you idiot. Nobody uses you moron, you fool, you Neanderthal. You're making it harder on yourself to identify this group, and then trying to pretend like I'm just making fun of them because it's so hard to identify this group, even though I've extended the numbers and the letters in the acronym. Like, you moron! It's only 4 letters and a plus, and you took it to all the way to plus minus and all the rest of this shit. You idiot! You moron! You fool!
And indulgence, an anti-Catholic hate group that is designed in order to mock Catholics with
Wait, what?
perverse display by hosting an LGBTQI plus minus divided by sign Pride Night featuring the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, an anti-Catholic hate group that is designed in order to mock Catholics with
Sisters
perverse
of
displays.
Perpetual.
And then they backed off of it. And then when they were clubbed from the other side, when they were clubbed by the left, they decided to go back and do it again.
Of Perpetual Indulgence.
Well, now you have certain members
Amazing.
of the team who have decided to speak out. And this takes actual courage, as we'll see in a moment. So one of those people is a pitcher named Trevor Williams. He is a right-handed pitcher for the Washington Nationals.
Why is there... Okay. Also, let's take a look. Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I think I've actually heard of this group. Let's see. Charity, protest, and street performance organization that uses drag and religious imagery to satirize issues of sex, gender, and morality, particularly Christian. What is this fucking... Oh, what is this logo? Amazing. So, Ben is... Wait, Ben. I thought free speech. What about free speech? Am I not allowed to satirize Christians? Is that not a thing? Am I not allowed to do that?
And he wrote, quote, "As a devout Catholic, I'm deeply troubled by the Dodgers' decision to reinvite and honor the group the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence at their Pride Night this year.
Wait, this person's not on the Dodgers
place where
team.
people from all walks of life should feel welcomed, something I greatly respect and support. This is the purpose of different theme nights hosted by the organization, including Pride Night. To invite and honor a group that makes a blatant and deeply offensive mockery of my religion and the religion of over 4 million people in LA County alone undermines the values of respect and inclusivity that should be upheld by any organization. Creating an environment in which one group feels celebrated and honored at the expense of another is counterproductive and wrong. It is a clear violation of the Dodgers' discrimination policy, which explicitly states that any conduct or attire at the ballpark that is deemed to be indecent or prejudiced against any particular group or religion."
Ooh, is there indecency? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they've decided that drag is indecent. That's a personal opinion. Where's the let's see, Dodgers policy that says ballpark is deemed to be indecent or prejudiced against another particular group? Well, fun fact, satire is not prejudice. It's satire. That's kind of the point. You're allowed to make fun of people.
Is not tolerated.
Hey, Jonas.
It seems that the Dodgers have made an exception in this case, doubling down that this group, which grossly disrespects and openly mocks many of the traditions and beliefs Catholics hold most dear, should be celebrated. I believe it's essential for the Dodgers to reconsider their association with this group and strive to create an inclusive environment that does not demean or disrespect the religious beliefs of any fan or employee. I also encourage my fellow Catholics to reconsider their support of an organization that allows this type of mockery of its fans to occur. I know I'm not alone in my frustration, hurt, and disappointment about this situation. As Catholic,
why is somebody who plays for my home team of Washington concerning themselves with the Dodgers' policies? This sounds like maybe they're playing them. That's why he's really upset.
We look to Jesus Christ and the way he was treated.
It is.
And we realize any suffering in this world unites us in him in the next. Okay, I mean, that is a courageous statement by Trevor Williams. He's not the only one. There's another MLB pitcher named Blake Treinen. Blake Treinen also put up a statement regarding all of this. Treinen, I believe, pitches for the Dodgers themselves.
Ah, a Dodgers player who doesn't like... What's really funny to me also is they're basically complaining, hey, you're not allowed to make fun of the Christians. That's not cool. It's like, fucking get over it, you guys. Jesus, fucking snowflakes.
Via one of his friends, saying, quote, "I'm disappointed
You're not allowed
to
to
see the Sisters of
satirize
Perpetual Indulgence being honored
Christianity.
as
That's
heroes of
not
Dodger
fair.
Stadium. Many of their performances are blasphemous. Their work only displays hate and mockery of Catholics and the Christian faith.
Definitely
I understand
mockery.
that playing baseball is a privilege, not a right. My convictions in Jesus Christ will always come first. Since I've been with the Dodgers, they've been at the forefront of supporting a wide variety of groups. However, inviting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to perform disenfranchises a large community and promotes hate of Christians and people of faith.
It doesn't.
The single event alienates the fans and supporters of the Dodgers, Major League Baseball,
and
professional
an
sports.
adult.
People like baseball for its entertainment value and competition. The fans do not want propaganda or politics forced on them. The debacle with Bud Light and Target should be a warning to companies and professional...
Ooh, the debacle of Target and Bud Light. Ooh, you mean Target where people of your ilk, Mr. Pitcher Man, have called in bomb threats, harassed, and threatened to destroy property? Actually, there's some video of people destroying some Pride. There was that one dude who like stomped on some like Pride display or some shit. Do you mean that? Do you mean those people, or do you mean Bud Light where you guys just decide to drink Coors Light, another very Pride adjacent brand? Do you mean that one? That one? Yep. Right. Like at the end of the day, what they're asking for is special. Don't make fun of me treatment because I'm Christian. That's what they're asking for. You're not allowed to make fun of Jesus. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. But go ahead and ask all of them. Should you be allowed to draw the Prophet Muhammad? Should you be allowed to do that? They will all say yes. They will all say that you're allowed to satirize, you're allowed to show, you're allowed to do whatever with somebody like the Prophet of Muhammad. You're allowed to do that. They don't give a fuck. But it's when it's Christians, when it's when it's the Jesus lovers in this country, who, by the way, hold most, if not all, of the levers of power in this country. When you satirize them, when you make fun of them, that's when the bounds have been crossed. That's when. So keep that in mind. These people they're not looking for equality. They're not looking for understanding. What they want is special treatment. We're allowed to make fun of you. We're allowed to support and pass bills that, they want to talk about disenfranchisement. There were gay people in this country who were not allowed to be legally married because of people like these pictures, people like Ben Shapiro. But they will call, a group satirizing their beliefs as disenfranchisement. Meanwhile, they try to pass actual laws to disenfranchise people. I don't want to hear it.
Sports to stay true to their brand and leave the propaganda and politics off the field. I believe Jesus died on the cross for my sins. This group openly mocks Jesus, the cornerstone of my faith. I want to make it clear I do not agree with nor support the decision of the Dodgers to honor these sisters of perpetual indulgence. Okay, good for Blake Trinan. But then there's the story of Anthony Bass. So he's a pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. He shared a post on his social media in which he encouraged the boycott of Target and Bud Light. He shared a video calling on Christians to stop patronizing those companies. The original...
Well, this is the thing, Giannis, is like, let me read this real quick. People find it offensive and shit, and they want to have that same thing for Christianity. Well, this is also the thing. You're allowed to be offended. This is kind of the thing with me. I got no problem with people, drawing Muhammad or satirizing religion. I got no problem with it. I don't think that's beyond the pale. My issue with Ben Shapiro and a lot of these Christian fundamentalists is that they only want that for their religion. The same way every religious group does. Muslims don't give a shit about satirizing Jesus. They don't give a fuck. They'll do it. Every one of these fundamentalist religious types, they all are okay with satirizing each other's religion, except when it comes to theirs. They can all go fuck themselves, and we should be able to make fun of them. This is a free country. I thought we lived with free speech laws. I have to hear it all the time from the right wing, like Ben Shapiro and Elon Musk and everybody else. But whenever it's free speech that's against their beliefs, against their values, they suddenly get really fucking pearl clutchy. Same with how many times do we see these guys come on and defend private institutions, private businesses from participating or making decisions for their own companies? All the fucking time. They're always in defense of private business, except when those private businesses go against their value set. That's the only time. Suddenly, the free market, suddenly all of the free market fundamentalism disappears because they don't care about any of that shit. What they care about is the propagation and the reinforcement of their religious value set. That's what they actually care about. And if there's a challenge to that, then they'll take up the issue. But if not, then they don't give a fuck.
Video said, quote, here's the reason biblically why I believe Christians have got to be boycotting Target, Bud Light, and any other corporation that's pushing the things they're pushing. This is evil. This is demonic. We won't stand for it. We're not going to go to the stores anymore. We're not going to give them
by pushing the
money.
Things they're pushing. Keep in mind, Target is pushing the existence and participation in the economy by gay people. That is the crime of Target. Target decided that gay people exist so much to the fact that they decided to sell clothing specifically aimed at them the same way they do for gamers and sports fans. And that's unacceptable to Ben Shapiro. And it's unacceptable for his fundamentalism. That's the thing that they're boycotting. They're boycotting the existence of other people when it comes to Target. Same with Bud Light, even though they're all fucking idiots and don't even understand anything about the Bud Light issue. But their opposition is the recognition that non-fundamentalists like themselves exist and should be included in marketing, in the economy, and everything else. Gay people, trans people cannot be equal participants in our country. That is what they are protesting.
Bass was then forced, presumably by the Toronto Blue Jays organization, to apologize for his own religious convictions. Here we go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They're doing it to make money. Everybody does it to make money.
A post that was hurtful to the Pride community.
Oh, Blue Jays, yeah.
Includes friends of mine and close family members of mine.
I wonder what their Pride one finds like. I love the Blue Jays logo. The Blue Jays logo is so good.
I just spoke with my teammates and shared
They
with
told
them
me
my actions
to shut the
yesterday.
fuck up.
I apologized with them. And as of right now, I'm using the Blue Jays resources to better educate myself, to make better decisions moving forward. The ballpark is for everybody.
The Maoist struggle
We
segments.
include all fans at the ballpark, and we want to welcome everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, none of these companies, keep in mind, none of these companies care. Like, they don't care about gay people. They care about selling things to gay people. The same way they don't care about gamers. Target doesn't care about anybody. If you have money in your wallet, they care. They just want that. They don't care what it is. They'll sell you a rainbow shirt. They'll sell you a MAGA hat. They'll sell you a fucking Nintendo Switch. They'll sell you a Minecraft. They will sell you anything to make money. But the like guys like Ben Shapiro, like Matt Walsh, and all the rest, their goal is to make sure that gay people, queer people, do not get to have things marketed to them. That is their goal, because the marketing towards these groups is a sign of acceptance and a sign of integration into society. And that's the thing they're challenging. They don't want, it's the same way like, oh, if we let the gays get married, what next? It's that sort of thing. Like, they don't want these people included into society the same way they are. They won't bat an eye if there's a Jesus loves you shirt being sold at Target. They won't fucking blink, but they will lose their shit over a rainbow shirt that says like, pride be with you or whatever the fuck. Like, they will lose their mind over that though.
The Maoist struggle sessions. The Maoist struggle sessions. You definitely have to cater to a tiny percentage of the population that is deeply offended by people who don't want transing of the kids' material at Target. You have to cater to those people, not the other 98% of the American population.
So Ben's a lawyer. He should know how. Let's see. He should know how making factual statements work. Let's see. U.S. Let's take a look. Ooh, look at this. So, bring me that, Ben, really quick.
At Target. You have to cater to those people, not the other 98%. Any percentage of the population that is deeply offended by people who don't want transing of the kids' material at Target. You have to cater to those people, not the other 98% of the.
So I'm not sure what 98% he's referring to. Pew Research finds most favor protecting trans people from discrimination. Even growing share say gender is determined by sex at birth. At the end of the day, these people will say stuff like, oh, well, obviously most Americans. No, most Americans are strongly in favor. Like, this is not the hill that Ben thinks he's going to die on.
American population. I got to tell you, I have a brand new baby. This means child number 4. And things are very busy around the house. And so the idea that
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, the fucking ads. Move on. Come on.
This happening. What exactly is the solution? Right? We've talked about this vast, collusive, quasi-conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy when they do it right out in the open, just say they're doing it. This vast, collusive group of people who have decided to leverage down, to cram down on the American public and the international public, actually, and on every major company in America, left-wing social engineering. So how exactly do you fight that? It's easy to say, you, the individual, you should get up and you should protest your corporation. Okay. I mean, that sounds great, except that then you lose your job and then you can't feed your family. Not everybody can work for the Daily Wire. So what exactly? Well, as a consumer, obviously, you can exercise choice, and it does work from time to time when you do. And you can show corporations that they ought to be scared of the consumer. Bud Light, for example, is getting absolutely clobbered Apparently, sales are worsening. They had a staggering drop of 29.5% for the week ending May 20th. Data from Bump Williams Consulting and Nielsen IQ provided to Newsweek shows that sales by volume are down almost 30% for the week ending May 20th compared to last year. Sales are down 25.7% for revenue compared to the same time window. This is a bloodbath. Anheuser-Busch InBev stock is getting crushed since the start of
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What is he talking about?
can exercise choice.
Uh-huh.
And it does work from time to time when you do. And you can show corporations
No, that was Pew Research.
that they ought to be scared of the consumer. Bud Light, for example, is getting absolutely clobbered.
Are we still doing the Bud Light?
Worsening. They had a staggering drop of 29.5% for the week ending May 20th. Data from Bump Williams Consulting and Nielsen IQ provided to Newsweek shows that sales by volume are down almost 30% for the week ending May 20th compared to last year. Sales are down 25.7% for revenue compared to the same time window. This is a bloodbath. Anheuser-Busch InBev.
Now keep in mind, that's for a very specific window. So that's essentially saying this time last year, there was X drop. Let's see if I can find the... let's do this. Close that. We'll open this one. Pull this over here. Actually, here. Bush stock. Let's take a look. We have the last, let's see, the last month, a drop of $11 in the share price. The last year over year, we're looking, oh no, is this year over year? Yes. Year over year, we're looking at a 2.3 drop between now and last year. Over the last 5 years, haven't been doing very well, but that's, let's see, max, what are we up for the entire life? Up another 34%. Not to say that Anheuser-Busch is a wonderful company. Oh, they're actually up today. Doesn't really matter. Let's see. But yeah, year over year, they're down 2%. Not really that crazy of a number. They've really gotta, I mean, they have to keep hammering this home that that Anheuser-Busch is failing. They'll be fine. Like, they're not like an incredibly healthy company, especially if you look at their 5 years. Granted, their 5 years probably, yeah, that's also probably including 2019 and during all of COVID, which everybody took deep hits. But either way, like, if we're really looking like even just year over year, it's a 2% drop. Same with, let's take a look at Target. Let's see. Target stock over the last month has dropped 17%. Their year over year is 16 though, meaning that, let's see, they've had some really deep drops in December. I don't know why in December. And over the last 5 years, they're actually shockingly up. Let's take a look at their overall. There was like a huge peak in 2021. Not sure why. Sure that has something to do with money they might have gotten. Yeah. Like Target, another company, not that healthy, but also you don't really need to be that healthy as long as you're returning what's the word I'm looking for? As long as you're returning what's the word? Money to the shareholders, I should say. This was when the first lockdown ended. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so that makes 1 second. Let's look no, that actually explains it then. If the first lockdown ended in 21, then yeah, that makes sense why they'd see such a huge rise. And then a big drop after that once we found out that retail shoppers weren't going to respond the same way. Thank you for that.
Stock is getting crushed since the start of April. Beers are selling for pennies, and there's no end in sight. Now, it is worthwhile noticing here that one of the reasons why this has been a successful boycott and will continue to be a successful boycott is because the alternatives are readily available, meaning all you have to do, you're at the grocery store. You don't like Bud Light because Bud Light decided they were going to push Dylan Mulvaney, a man masquerading as a woman,
do you notice? Does anybody else notice that
instead, you turn 6 inches to your right and pick up some Coors.
The left isn't
and actually what you can see is
really
that
that
Bud Light sales are
in,
down 25% and Coors Light sales are up 25%. They just moved everything
Interested
moved
in
from one
Bud Light?
brand to another.
Do you want to know why that
happens
is?
when you're talking about a universal
mainly because,
wave of companies all mirroring the Pride Month celebratory morality?
It really wasn't
what
all
happens
that
when that happens? How do you fight
significant,
that?
the Della Mulvaney thing.
The answer here is going to be a bevy of lawsuits. Okay, this is going to be legislation and lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we are watching right now is illegal collusion between these companies. I've used the word collusion, but it actually is legal collusion. So there are two separate lines of attack that are going to have to be used legally in order to break up this corporate oligopoly.
Wait a minute.
Line number one is
does Ben understand how markets work all of a sudden? Does he understand how we live in it? Wait a minute. Is this the only time Ben's going to actually understand how the economy works for once in his life? Every other time like, you see how it's falling apart, how like their entire like belief structure, especially around the economy, somehow they've now figured it out. Like, wait, all of these companies all have come to a point where they have enough market share capture that they're just trading positions constantly, and that's how they've created an oligarchy. Oh my God, can you believe this? Every sector of the United States economy suffers from this. But the only time these guys are interested in recognizing that is when they can paint one as woke, meaning not conservative to them or not conservative enough to them. And it's the only time they can seem to understand it. Wow, that's actually kind of amazing. I didn't think we'd get there with Ben.
This is anti-competitive.
I guess he understands.
This is a violation of basic antitrust law.
Whoa, you mean
That's
antitrust law that you've never been in favor of enforcing?
They say the seminal antitrust law in the United States, the Sherman Act of 1890, prohibits every contract, combination, or conspiracy in restraint of trade or commerce. To protect consumers across the economy, courts have interpreted this law to prohibit unreasonable agreements in restraint of trade. Anti-competitive conduct enriches the few, members of a cartel, at the expense of everybody else, harming free markets, ultimately consumers through higher prices and reduced output. Agreements between competitors to fix prices, divide markets, or engage in certain forms of group boycott agreements prevent competition on the merits and are therefore illegal. As former DOJ Antitrust Division head Megan Delrahim has written, anti-competitive agreements among competitors, regardless of the purported beneficial goal, are outlawed because they reduce the incentives for companies to compete vigorously, which in turn can raise prices, reduce innovation, and ultimately harm consumers. For example, there was a case called FTC versus Superior Court Trial Lawyers Association. A group of lawyers agreed to stop representing indigent criminal defendants in Washington, D.C. until the city government agreed to increase their compensation. The FTC took them to court. They argued that this was a per se illegal conspiracy to fix prices and conduct a boycott. The lawyers defended their agreement as a justified strike in the public interest to increase the number of lawyers who could represent those particular defendants. The Supreme Court rejected the defense. So, you could easily see a situation in which there is a lawsuit against all of these companies, all of these organizations for their ESG nonsense, their collusive ESG nonsense. In fact,
do you think Ben has any idea what ESG means? ESG is mostly just a rating based on their environmental impacts and a few other they're basically like markers for like speculative investors. Like that's all it really is. It's like a snapshot of like certain because what is it? I'm sorry, I gotta look up. What does it stand for? ESG stand for? It's environmental, social, and governance. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, so it's like it's basically like calculating its environmental impacts, also the like social like relations that it has in any locality, and then also the like governing relationships that they have. So if you're gonna put like a brewery, let's say in I don't know, if you're gonna put a brewery in Kansas, let's say, they're gonna do an ESG rating to kind of figure out, okay, what relationships do you have with the government to get the leases? What environmental impact are you going to have by brewing in the local area? And then what kind of, working conditions are going to be had? And some of this all like builds up as the like company operates basically. But it's just, it's a certain subsect of priorities, some of which are, some people invest more on based on those. Some people do less. Some people don't give half a shit. But it's just a way of understanding the full context of any businesses, of basically them running their business.
Bloomberg Law reported just a little bit earlier this month that insurers are now being forced to rethink their approach to climate change as they assess the risk of being sued for antitrust violations. Munich Re, the world's biggest reinsurer, recently backed out of the Net Zero Insurance Alliance, citing what it called the material legal risks it would face if it remained. The defection was then followed by 2 more high-profile departures, with Zurich Insurance Group AG and Hanover Re also leaving. All 3 said they will still pursue net zero goals, but not in coordination with the alliance. Because, again, they are afraid that they're going to be sued for collusion. So that would be solution number 1. Solution number 2 is somewhat similar. That would be a shareholder derivative claim. A shareholder derivative action is when shareholders basically say that corporate officers are breaching their fiduciary duties, that your fiduciary duty is to maximize the profitability and the viability of the corporation in which I am a shareholder. Your fiduciary duty does not involve doing the work of the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation or the PGLE or whatever ridiculous ESG organization you have decided to join. Their shareholder actions can include anything up.
Also, again, they keep saying ESG because, well, keep in mind, ESG is a dog whistle for woke at this point. So it's why they never really talk about what the ESG ratings actually mean. But it's just a dog whistle at this point.
To and including conflicts of interest between the corporation and insiders, wasting of corporate assets, executive manager or board member breach of fiduciary duty. The law is going to be a solution to this. And the law will also be a solution in terms of legislation. It's one reason why Republicans are going to actually have to win. There's no substitute for victory. Because Joe Biden sits in the presidency right now. And President Biden...
Wait. The Republican Party is going to legislate Bud Light? Is that really what he's suggesting?
Basically vowed that he was going to veto any ESG rule. You'll recall it was not all that long. It was March when he rejected a Republican proposal to prevent pension fund managers from basing investment decisions on factors like climate change.
It's literally a analysis.
Literally encouraging all of this.
An analysis
the House GOP
format.
tried to override that Biden veto. They just didn't have the votes to do it. The override failed on a 219-200 vote along party lines. But if Republicans were to win the House and win the Senate and win the presidency, they could actually pass a law to ban ESG investing, which would be necessary.
Can you imagine the Republican Party, the party of free market fundamentalism, passing a law that would ban a form or a format of analysis that they don't find politically correct? That's what that is. The idea that you would ban ESG analyses is actually fucking insane. That would be as if you banned, I don't even know what that's analogous to. The idea that you would say, no, you are not allowed to invest in anything that has been analyzed through a ESG lens is absolutely crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Like when these people pretend that they're, their free market fundamentalism frequently runs up against their religious fundamentalism. The thing that they tell, like at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to click on one of these things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.